Howdy, folks. It's good to see everybody. When y'all pop in, please make sure as you come in to hit the like button on the way in. And if you find this discussion to be something that you agree with and would like to have more, please feel free always to hit the bell, subscribe, and share it out. Let's get the conversation rolling. Let's get the ball rolling and see what we can do collectively. Okay. Now, just for perspective's sake, this is my observation. There are a lot of things at play going on right now, from what's going on with the border to things in the news, current events in the news, things abroad that are going on, and things that are going on in our very own neighborhoods and counties and states, And one of the truest things that seems to be the case, at least from my observation, is that we always encounter the same playbook, right? They don't change it up very much. Granted, they might switch the stage to, a different scenario, but it's always the same playbook. And one of the things I've seen so far in just this little bit of time was I've seen a lot of the intentional mainstream avoidance of the topics, the things that everybody else sees going on, the things that everybody else is looking at, right? The observation. And it's been my opinion for quite some time that the playbooks really don't change. The characters may change and the stage may change, but the playbook doesn't change. And as far as the whole thing with the border, right? Please understand that when it comes to the topic of the border, this is not the first time in certainly my lifetime that the people in this country have wanted secure borders, have wanted some means and measure of protection from just having anybody and everybody be able to come into the country. Things were a lot different several hundred years ago. Okay. And let's talk about that for a minute. When it comes to the border, people want to argue on one side or the other, or just turn a blind eye to it, right? And the funny thing is that with more people over time, the government essentially got the means through taxation and revenue and more representation from their end, absolutely from their end, to be able to create a system that essentially brings people in and they go through the process, they become citizens, they become members and people, naturalized into this country. And, we can go back and forth all day long, but all of that is that's just part of the division and the distraction. What is going on here is not new. None of this is new, right? Y'all got to understand that this playbook is not new. It's just not. Okay? They have ran this playbook with allowing unchecked mass influxes of people with not enough hands, not enough bodies, not enough eyes, not enough procedure, if you will, And I use that term loosely because it's intentional. But not enough procedure to actually check out who it is that's coming over here, right? Now, at one point in time in history, we're going to, get your popcorn, make sure you hit that like bell on the way in and, think about sharing this out to somebody else. But we're going to go around the park for a little bit and we're going to smell all the flowers. If you know, you know. But, at one point in time, we had a lot of people that came in unchecked, okay? And over the course of time, the whole point was to flood the system. That's what it ended up being. Anytime there's a mass event, and we'll use that word and hold on to that for a bit. Remember that word event for the rest of the conversation, please. And whenever there's an event, you have a mass influx of people, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's, some sort of event, okay, that causes people to have to leave an area, go to a different area, move quickly, relocate for whatever purpose, whether it's, violence, war, whether it's natural disasters, what have you, okay? And much in the way that they would run a field hospital back in the day, you really never knew how many people were there because there was always people coming in. And there's no way to continue to keep up with an influx when you've broken the dam, okay? You can't hold back that flood after that dam is already broken. And that is what I see. I see a broken dam, and all of the engineers, as it were, have just thrown their hands up and walked away. And in a very real sense of the word, okay, the government is willing to take on violence. It's willing to take on crime. It's willing to take on sickness. It's willing to take on innumerable problems that other countries have already experienced. They've already been through it, okay? And by a very real sense, that's what's going on. That's what's going on here. That's what's going on in other countries in the past, okay? And many of them to the detriment of the populace of that country. Now, it also comes back to a good conversation that what you have when you have something like that happen, okay, you have a series of events that occurs. You have a mass number of people come in. There's no way to double check who it is, where they're from, if their documentation, if they have any, is accurate, and be able to really vet who it is that's essentially in your house, right? And the problem is that they've flooded the system, and the conversation is not so much if it was peaceful, it wouldn't be that way. It wouldn't be that way. And hello to everybody that's down there in the chat. I see you that way. Kelly, it's good to see you. Now, it turns that is the case, right? That's the case. Sorry about that. Got a call. It turns out that that's the case. That if it was peaceful, if there wasn't some other subvertive motive of the government, then they would be more inclined to make sure that the people flooding in here, and they are flooding in, don't get it twisted. Don't ever get that twisted. It's never been quiet. They're just not showing you, okay? There are videos, there's footage for those of you that are inclined to do a little checking and digging. It's out there. All of it is. Not only are our military being told to shut up and allow it to happen, and just don't say anything. You're working for the government. We are your bosses. You don't get to question us. Do what you're told. Shut up and be what you're supposed to be. Be all you can be, right? And this is not a knock to the military by any stretch. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you all did for our country and the service that you gave us. The family members gave us, because I have them in my family. But the military, when the military is told to shut up and don't speak, just do, against their own family's safety, acting against their own best interest. But when you're in the military, you don't have those options. You don't have those choices. You don't have that say. And the thing is the hard part. The hard part comes when you look at these floods of not just information, but at the things that they've been saying, the playbook and the events that they've set up and coordinated for years. And you're looking at it, and you've got the government telling you, sure, come on in. You can come on in. You can be a climate, whatever, bullshit. You can be, an asylee from a dangerous country, and, you can come here just as a military age man, and, we'll make sure that your family gets here. Yeah, right. Okay. When you get all of that, then you end up with a very ugly maelstrom of a shitstorm. Okay. What's up, Def Bread? What's up, Ricky? Good to see you. Make sure y'all hit that daggone like, man. Come on. One of these days I'll figure out how to get other people up here. But when you have that maelstrom going, okay, and you have all of these people and you have the ops out there that the people in the government are telling you, we want more people for our districts. We want more people that we can use to tax. We want more people to print money. We want more people to put in our military to replace everybody that stood on their principles, their foundation, their morals, and their sense of what was right. Okay? And they replaced all of them. They shut them down. They did all of that as a distraction to bring in all of these new people. And poof, guess what? Now they get to be in the military. They don't even have to become American citizens to get that way. Okay? There's no period that I've seen yet that says, you guys gotta be here for a certain amount of time, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. There's nothing that says how long or how short they have to be here before they can join the military. And guess what then, folks? They're now trained. They're trained just like the military is. And guess what else? They have the legal right by the government and its authority. Ricky, I really wish I could bring you up, because I know I can already hear you howling in the back. Who the fuck gave them authority, and what the fuck gives them the right? Okay? I can already hear it. God love you for it, right? What's up, Stray? Good to see you. Now, Ricky would have a great point. The point is they were given that authority by our government. People that don't share the same values, people that don't have the same beliefs, people that don't love other American people the way that we do, they're fleeing. They're flooding You know, they're climbing, they're hiking, they're doing everything they can to come in. Okay? And the whole point would be this is not a new playbook, folks. This has been done all throughout history to topple a country. And if y'all think really for 2 seconds that it's really about, you know, this one or that one that loves our country so much and whatever, that, you know, they're going to do everything they can to fight for us. I mean, I love y'all. I really do. But we're the ones that love each other like that. They don't give two shits. They're getting paid. They're propped up. They're getting put in there for a reason. Okay? Don't ever forget that. What's up, Jenna? It's good to see you, darling. I love you guys. Appreciate y'all for coming in. I really do. It's been a good bit since I've hopped up on here and had some stuff to say, but I'm going to keep on ranting and keep on raving. Now, you understand the playbook. The playbook is you will obey, you will shut up, you will accept it, you will bow down, you will not fight, you won't talk, you don't have freedom, you don't have opinion, you don't have God, you don't have the ability to fight. That's what they want. They don't want anybody to have a voice. They don't want anybody to collectively speak across the aisle. They don't want people talking to each other. They don't want people saying, we're done. We're not going to play by this rule. We're not going to play by this playbook. We see your playbook. It's been in play for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Okay? We're not going to be distracted. We know what the game plan is. We know what you're doing. We see it. We don't accept it. We do not consent to just fall blindly to this beast. We don't consent to fall blindly and allow our children to be taken to this beast. We do not consent as brothers, as sisters, as wives, as husbands, as children, as parents, as family, as friends. We do not consent to the takeover. We do not consent to the takeover. We don't give that authority. We stand on our own authority. We stand on our own set of principles and our character and our morals. And by God, on God, we stand. And if we don't stand, folks, if we don't do everything that we can together, you know, ideology be damned. I would fight for Stray. I would fight for Kelly. I would fight for Jenna. I would fight for Kelly's son. I would fight for everybody that's mine, because everybody in this country that is here, that are Americans, that do not consent to this takeover, is mine. They're yours. Okay? It's not about parties. It's not about politics. It's about fighting for the heart and soul of humanity. And we got to do it, y'all. We got to do it. Because if nobody else does, if we wait until it's at our doorstep, we've already lost, man. We've already lost. You know, and best believe that all of this stuff is for distractions. They've got a bill in place now. Okay, I've shared it with some of y'all. We've shared it. And we've shared it, and we've shared it, and we've shared it. And they want everybody disbanded. They don't want us talking. They don't want us to see what's going on. They don't want us to read about all the shit they're trying to sneak in behind us and around us. They don't want you to understand that when all of these people are coming in, if they're coming in as, people that have jobs, that can have work, that have, skill sets and things of that nature, if they're coming in for work and they're coming into work through visas and this and that and whatever, fine. But why are they getting all of this money if they can make it? If they've already got jobs, if they're here because they're supposed to be and they're legal to be here because they're supposed to be. Right? And that's a good point, Kelly. Watch the guy snapping at a rec center because he couldn't get in. He works a full-time job and he's homeless and he has nowhere to go. Best believe the people coming in are generating money. They're generating money for the beast, for the system. And when the system gets to the point to where none of that money has value, you better believe they're going to pull the plug. They're going to pull the plug. It's just that simple. We've watched this stuff come out. We've watched this playbook being slowly, page by page, item by item, and article by article being done in lockstep. See my community post. See my community post. Leave a message on the video that way after you're done so I can go check you out, okay? Y'all go check out that way. He or she has been very persistent in the chat, so by all means, go check them out. Now, understand that when you have a system that runs on fiat, right? They're looking to try to get to that clean energy. They're looking to use one of the biggest nuclear reactors in the world to produce clean, free, sustainable energy, okay? And if you think that these powers that be want us to have sustainable water for everybody, sustainable food for everybody, or electricity power without them being able to charge for it, there's always going to be some way. They got to charge for it. You best believe that they're not going to let that happen. Everybody that has ever tried to get away from the federal and the bank system and all of that has been killed. If they've tried to better the world by the means of a water engine or renewable water, clean water, food, it's unreal. Thank you, Jenna. Appreciate it, darling. Now, if they're able to kill people, the you and I's of the world that aren't on the world stage, that want to help humanity, they're fighting for team humanity, if you will, right? Trying to get away from being taxed to death and, worked to death and just crushed to death by the system, by the beast. And trying to make the world a better place, trying to fight that negativity, trying to fight that evil, if you will, right? Take the bull by the horns and say enough of the bullshit. That there's a point to it, right? If you took 90% of the world and said, you guys are disposable, and we're not going to use your energy, we're not going to use your resources anymore, you can't have ours either, where do you go from there, right? It takes the collective, the entirety of humanity to say, you guys are the smallest group and smallest fraction of humanity. And we do not consent. You don't have the right, you don't have the authority, you certainly don't have the morals, and you damn sure don't have the track record to be running the show. Okay? It's not for the good of humanity. But we've got to stop being so distracted, y'all. We've got to stop buying into the bullshit. We've got to see that inch by inch by inch by inch, they're taking and taking and taking more from us until, they're just going to have it all, including us. And I don't know about y'all, but I do not consent. Okay? I think that's the biggest point of this conversation today. I do not consent. If y'all haven't already, it's been in the news cycle. Understand that there's a reason why they're putting that guy out that supposedly beheaded his dad, who was a federal worker. Okay? And his association, they had to try to make it about him being some whack job that happened to be a conservative. And they worded it in such a way that if you haven't already figured out that playbook, that's part of it. They don't want us to be able to defend ourselves. They don't want us to be able to feed ourselves, clothe ourselves, be able to have access to health care, water, all of those things. Okay? And when it comes down to it at the end of the day, I do not consent. On behalf of my children, I do not consent. On behalf of my friends, my family, my brothers, my sisters, my aunts, my uncles, my grandparents, all of these people, my friends out here, their families, we do not consent. And best believe that they did this all for a reason. And sooner or later, we're going to see it. Right? Kelly, they don't, because it's a point. Okay? It doesn't fit the narrative. But you believe that they always use these events. Okay? Events. Now we're going to pull that word out again. They use these events to try to justify more laws, more regulations, more restrictions. Okay? And I don't know about y'all, but, I don't consent to that either. And if it comes down to push coming to shove, I guess I'm just going to be a non-law abiding citizen person, because I don't ever want to be a citizen. I'm a person, a naturally born human person, a woman that has birthed children, that has brought life, that has created life. And I do not consent to this takeover. Right? Now, I love y'all. I got some other stuff I got to do. I just needed to get on here and rant a little bit. I don't do it quite often enough. I've got plans in the works for my she shed and my garden this year. And y'all better understand, I'm coming hard with that garden. I'm going to do it. It's already in the process. But food will not be a concern this year. And not for long. Okay? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Every one of y'all that came in. All y'all that are listening to this on the replay. All y'all that are coming in a little bit late. Drop me a comment. I do not consent. Okay? And share this out. We got to get this conversation going, y'all. And quite honestly, I don't give a fuck anymore if they take my channel. I do not consent to censorship. I do not consent to this bullshit. I don't consent to Clown World, and I damn sure don't consent to a hostile takeover. So I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all later. All right? Y'all have a good day. Bye.